My name is Cecil Laird, and about 5.5 years ago, I started a channel on YouTube called The Horror Show Channel. It was meant to be an all-encompassing horror variety show that still runs to this day, putting up about one episode every single day. Outside of that, I've made a number of short films, and this is just the biggest and best amongst them. Freddy is my overall favorite slasher, and it just so happens that Wes Craven's New Nightmare is my second favorite in the entire franchise, and it was the most ripe for coming back and re-engaging the audience with this continuity that we all have loved for so many years, 25 at this point.
Hello, my name is Rene, and I'm a writer and director based out of Flagstaff, Arizona. I've been pursuing filmmaking for quite some time. I've always had a camera in my hand since I was a kid, and more recently we released a Halloween fan film called The Spirit of Haddonfield. On this project, we're going to focus on a lot of intricate rack-focused slides. With Spirit of Haddonfield, I shot the whole thing on gimbal with an assortment of interstitial static shots. I'm really excited to get some nice 8-foot slides, 4-foot slides, a lot of good rack focuses. It's going to be a fun challenge. First and foremost, it's immensely exciting to be able to get to work with Miko, but just being able to take a bite, if you will, out of the Freddy storyline. Like I've worked on Never Hike Alone with Vincent DeSante, recently with The Spirit of Haddonfield, so Myers. Now we get to delve into Freddy land, and that's just exciting in itself to, take on the third in the big three.
So my name's Vincent DeSante, and I'm probably best known for a project that I created a few years ago called Never Hike Alone, a Friday the 13th fan film. I think what attracted me to Dylan's New Nightmare originally was Cecil's passion for it. I know he was something that he was very driven to do, and I recognized the passion that I saw in myself when I was making Never Hike Alone. And then when he showed me the concept for it, it wasn't my first idea of what I would have thought somebody would have pitched me for a Nightmare on Elm Street fan film. Usually you would have gone probably after like somebody saying In the Spirit of One or Dream Warriors or go that way, and I've never heard the concept of a new Nightmare fan film before. And when he pitched me the concept and the concept of bringing Miko on to reprise that role of Dylan Porter, it actually made sense. I mean, this is something that I think was even worthy of studio recognition. It was one of those no-brainers that, like, when time passes enough on a franchise, that sometimes opportunities arise to bring characters back and tell really interesting stories.
I came up with the idea for Dylan's New Nightmare when I was just sort of scouring the movies, trying to decide where in the continuity I wanted to place the film. If there's a way to do this, I think this is the best way to do it. Let's bring Dylan back, and we'll see what he's up to now 25 years later, with Freddy having been hibernating in his head for the whole time.
As far as I know, this is the first time anybody has actually wrote a script for reprising this character, this universe, which I found pretty exciting. Earlier this year, Cecil approached me and kind of just was picking my brain about the character and thoughts on it, and which was fun, it was interesting. He had like unique questions, which I found refreshing. I didn't necessarily think too much of it, and then he mentioned he had an idea for like a reboot, refresh, what if, what would be happening today in that universe. And that was fun. I hadn't really considered anything like that, and definitely, enjoyed playing with the idea. And then it was months later at another Mad Monster convention, I saw him again, and handed me a script and said, "What do you think of this? Like, if you have time, read it." And I was kind of taken aback, like, whoa, that's, okay, let's see. And it's a fun idea. I think there's something there. I think there's a lot of opportunity right now for fan films, and there's a thirst for Freddy and horror. And I think it's something that could be really special. I think Freddy's, in my opinion, of course I'm biased because I was in it, but even before then, Freddy was always my favorite of like the big horror guys. And I'm surprised nothing has really popped up yet since the last films.
As far as making a mark on the franchise, I want to make sure that everything that we do is 100% respectful to not only the franchise, but to Wes Craven himself. He's such a maestro in the filmmaking and especially horror genre, and I would never want to do anything that would make him not proud. So I want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make it as high quality as it possibly can be. And with the people that I've managed to wrangle up and get involved, I think that there's no way that it can't be of that level. I have the utmost confidence in everyone that has become part of the cast and crew already.
I mean, Wes Craven's one of my heroes. I grew up watching all of his films, and I think one of the greatest things about Wes is as you get older, I mean, we see our heroes on TV or on the back of a VHS box or in a magazine or anything like that, but I think what's been really special is that I've met people in the industry, is that when you hear personal stories about Wes, and you hear how sweet he was, and how well he treated everyone, and how much of an auteur he really was, a student of the craft, a student of the game, and humble the entire way. I think that he is such a great example for young horror filmmakers to strive to be.
Wes Craven's New Nightmare, the tone of it is just very dark, and I was always I gravitated towards the idea of this whole nightmare reality getting merged into real life, into people's day-to-day lives. That was always just really appealing to me.
Filming New Nightmare was my favorite project I think I ever got to work on. Just being 7 and being in a Freddy movie was incredible, because Freddy was kind of like a pop culture superhero at the time, which is weird because he's a movie monster, a horror icon. I had never even seen any of the movies at the time when I auditioned for it, but I knew exactly who he was. He was everywhere. It was like getting to play every day on set. I think it's fun, and it's a cool experience to come hang here and do this. And I'm just going to enjoy myself and play. And if there's something to it, if people really click with it, that would blow my mind. That's crazy. If not, no worries. Like this is a cool adventure regardless. So I think there's a lot of room to play with the Dylan character, because ultimately who's the same person as they were when they were 7. I mean, there's going to be some things possibly, but it could go a lot of different directions. The original New Nightmare was so meta, and nowadays modern audiences are used to that, where at the time that was kind of one of the newer ones that was exploring that. So to be able to expand on that in a modern sense while being able to tip the hat to the original is really fun. And I loved the ideas he had with the script for that. I'm excited. I'm also a little hesitant to play. It's very strange how life imitates art, that Dylan is an actor like his mother, which totally makes sense in the script. There's like a lot of parallels in this that's like, all right, if I start having nightmares during this, it's gonna be an issue.
Wes Craven's New Nightmare feels like almost like a behind-the-scenes documentary come to life in a way, where it makes you, if you want to become a filmmaker, pine for it. There's something to it. I think it's kind of funny now that we're making a fan film for it, that you have that inspiration from, the film is about filmmakers and people in the film industry. Even the subject of the fan film is about an actor within the film industry, which I think it all ties back into the original theme of, the original Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And that's what I think makes this story so special. So I think what I ended up finding special about Wes Craven's New Nightmare is now alive and well in this project. And especially with bringing Miko on and being able to, bring his character back in, that's the best way to do it. He's a great, avenue to go through to tell this story, this resurgence of Freddy, and it's an exciting project to be a part of.
I think this is a passion project by fans that really know the series and that are going to do everything possible to honor it and I think if you're a Freddy fan, I really hope and want to present the best project possible and give the fans what they wanted, which is more Freddy, which has been a long time coming, I think.
But even just backing it and having your name in the credits and knowing that you helped it happen, your $5 went into that mold or that effect or that thing. It was one more thing that allowed us to get the tools that we need to create a dynamic and, high production value story.
For anyone that is waffling on whether or not you want to contribute to the campaign, I would highly recommend clicking on some of the links, the hyperlinks in the campaign below. You'll be able to watch Never Hike Alone from Vince, The Spirit of Haddonfield from Rene. You'll see the talent involved in Miko, Dave, and Nora Hewitt. If you even throw us $5, we greatly appreciate it. It's a ton of help. I think you're going to want to be a part of this. I mean, check out those perks. They're nuts.